What up, guys? I am Lou. It's been a while. It's been a long time, to be honest with you. And just been busy, man. Busy with life, with work, family. The list goes on and on. But I'm enjoying it, man. Having fun. I'm enjoying it. Um, so I actually just did a live stream. I actually just streamed right before this on Twitch. So on Twitch, you can follow me. I am the real Lou, and that's where I do my gaming. I like to game as well, and that's kind of where what I do there, right? I game. Um, Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to see. I feel like it's not. I'm trying to figure out if I'm actually streaming right now. It looks like I am. There goes. I am. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. So either way, um yeah, I just finished streaming on Twitch, so that's kind of where I do my gaming. Right now, I'm playing Halo Infinity. Infinity, damn it, man, can never say that right. Infinity, dude, that game's awesome, dude. I love it. Awesome game. I enjoy it. Have a lot of fun. Again, I'm a big believer of work hard and you play hard, right? At the end of the day, there's times where I may work 15 hours a day. Um, let me rephrase it. When I say 15 hours a day, I just want to make sure that's kind of understood. I don't mean like I am a software developer. I'm not in front of the computer coding 15 hours a day. That's not what I mean. 15 hours a day worth of work could be, multiple things, right? Like could be coding for a few hours, have a few meetings with clients, doing some edits for YouTube, some accounting. It could be meeting with my team. We're kind of going over some new projects. It could have been like right now I'm starting to get into real estate, so I'm looking at some properties. Me, contacting the agent. Me spending some time trying to find some properties, things of that nature. Like all of that's work, right? I mean, it takes time. It just I'm at a point in my life now where work it's not because I work for myself. It's a little bit different than what it was, let's say 5 years ago, where work was I literally went into the office and then I work. And then, there was times where when I leave the office, I come home and maybe I will still do some more work later on here or there, right? An hour here, 30 minutes here, respond to emails or, whatever it is I'm working on, may do some more work. Now it's different though because A, it's my own business. It's number one. Number two, I'm working on different things. Like, I want to get into more into doing like YouTube, for example, and streaming. I like to game. So I've been doing more Twitch streaming on top of that. I'm looking into real estate. So now I'm, spending time doing research over that. I'm getting more into crypto. Again, I spend research doing some research over that, invest into that. I'm doing a lot of different things right now. Um, so it all depends on what you want to call it, right? For some people, I just call it work because it's. I don't even feel good calling it work. 'Cause I don't think it's work, man. It's just me doing things that I enjoy. I'm not gonna say I enjoy every single thing that I do, and there's some stuff that I do. Like I'll tell you right now, dude. Like it may sound weird. I actually don't enjoy doing invoicing. I know that sounds weird because some of my clients, dude, I'm charging ten, $15,000 for example per invoice, and that sounds good. Like, dude, I will be happy once that time comes. Boom, let's invoice for 10 grand here and 15 grand here or whatever it is. Like that would be awesome. Excited, send it over to them. They get it right away as soon as possible, so I can get paid right away. But it really isn't though. To me, it's not, man. And maybe part of it has to do. Again, I'm not trying to make myself sound rich because I'm not, but I'm doing very, very well financially. I know that I am, and I'm thankful to be in that position. Um, so right now I'm able to do other stuff. Right? I'm able to do YouTube. I'm able to do Twitch. I'm able to look into real estate. I'm able to start, put money into crypto. I mean, I'm able to just do different things. So I'm just kind of very scattered doing different things. But I enjoy what I'm doing, though. I mean, that's the thing about it. I really do. Um, but nevertheless, I just finished streaming on Twitch. I want to come to YouTube. So one of the reasons why it comes so late is a lot of my following, I want to say about maybe 50% is coming from India. I don't know, which right now it is Saturday already, and it's like daytime over there. I don't know if they're on YouTube right now, but I wanted to stream because I just wanted to talk again. Wanted to talk. Hey, this segment is called Drink with Lou, and the reason why I call that because I'm actually having a drink. My drink of choice today is tequila, and I'm having Olmeca Autos. So this is the tequila that I'm having. It's actually not expensive at all, and it actually tastes pretty good. It got out, kind of reviewed it, saw the ratings on it. It got some good ratings. I think it's pretty good, man. I like it. Um, 100% agavos, which it's key. So I'm a big fan of it, man. I actually do like it especially for the price, dude. It was like $26, $25 or something. It was not expensive at all. Especially to find good tequila, like natural, like you know, without being heavily processed and artificial flavors and all of that. This is a good drink. I will strongly recommend it. But either way, that's why I'm calling this segment "Drink with Lou" because I'm actually having a drink, and I want to talk tech with y'all, man. If y'all have any questions about anything, those of y'all who follow me and know that a lot of my videos have been related over Python. That's one of the languages that I know. That's not the only language I know. I know JavaScript as well. I know some C Sharp, and I have been dabbling into other languages. Dart is another one, but nevertheless, though, the only language right now that I'm kind of going to focus on when it comes to my YouTube channel is Python. Later on, we'll see. I may change it, but for right now, I'm just going to focus on Python. So anything Python related, here's the thing. Any question you have about me, you're more than welcome to ask me. But if it's specifically to Python, I may be able to hopefully give you an answer right away. Just because I've been dealing with Python for so long, know a lot of the in and outs. I was, even though I have been dealing with Python for maybe 9 years, I still don't call myself an expert, dude. There's so much to do with the language. It all depends on how you're going to use the language. So good example for Python, right? So let's say if you're going to do database work with Python, well, most likely you're going to deal with ORMs, you're going to deal with PYODBC, you're going to be dealing with models. Maybe you will probably deal, like if you're strictly dealing with backend, you may be doing a backend on a web project, like let's say Django or Flask, but the backend is going to be, again, some sort of ORM that you're using, and you're going to be dealing with models, creating models in that framework, and then to be able to be called to do updates and inserts and so on. That's kind of what you would end up more so focusing on. And of course, but again, what I'm trying to say is that if that's what you have learned, that's what you have your work requires, that's what you know. But there's other stuff you could do. Like, I know a lot of people see Python as the first thing that, what I have noticed, right? People that never use Python or don't use Python on a daily basis, they always refer to Python as data science. I get it. It's used for data science, and it has actually replaced, to some degree, you can see where people are switching from R to Python. So if you don't know what R is a language that uses for statistics, and it has for years. Here's the thing: R has been around for a while, dude, and it has always been used for statistics. It has a lot of packages that's used for that. It's kind of was designed for that. You could pull data from databases in R. You could read CSV files and things of that nature to ultimately put in memory, and then of course run statistics on it, right? Whatever it is that you're doing. So it was designed for that. Now, of course, here comes Python, and Python. This is like I saw this like good 8 years ago, where it was like, Python. Python have had packages, like the way R has all these statistical packages. It has too. Like, anybody who's a data science person, there's a good chance they're using probably Anaconda. For example, Anaconda out of the box gives you all of the data science for the most half, right? Packages that you need. Um, and that's what they would use. And now it has become more and more popular. People are like, hey, I want to learn Python. Not just for data science, because hey, if you learn Python, yeah, you can use it for data science. You happen to be a data science guy. But hey, if you learn it well enough, you can use it for other areas that you're trying to build. When you really couldn't do that with R. So, but there's this mindset that, oh, it's only for Python only used for data science, but it's not, dude. That's the thing about it. It's really not used for data science only. Like, it's actually used for web development, API, heavily for API. There's all kinds of APIs built on Python. There's people like big companies like Netflix that use Python for their backend APIs. What's that company name? It's Zapper, I believe, if I pronounce it Zapier. So they have these kind of connections. You can kind of connect like your database to send out an email. Like if something changes in your database, you can trigger out an email. You can have it connected to your Twitch account. You can have an email. Like you can have it automate. It's pretty much it's a platform to automate a lot of things, right? They use Python. So that company, this was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, around there. I actually tried applying for that company, and I got rejected. Of course, I don't know why I say of course, but either way, I got rejected from that company. Um, Pretty much what they told me was that they have hundreds and hundreds of people applying for pretty much 2 or 3 or 4 positions, right? So it's all going to be tough when you have, if anything, that makes it easier for them to kind of try to pick the best of the best, right? And they probably saw me as not being qualified, and that's fine, right? I'm not gonna be offended by that. Like I get a lot of processes; it's kind of hard to tell, and you kind of have to go by some kind of resume, try to best determine. Which kind of comes back down to if you have a good resume, maybe that's enough to get your foot in the door. Um, but nevertheless, so I didn't get the job, and you know what, it worked out for the best, because you know what, eventually it was like a year later, or so after that, year and a half later that I applied. I want to say it was a year and a half later that I from me applying and being rejected from the job. I ended up starting my own company, and now I'm doing very well. I got some employees, some contractors working for me. We're growing every year. This is gonna be my 4th year in business, number 4. Um, so I'm thankful, man. I'm getting worked out for the best. We use Python as our main stack. We do use JavaScript as well when it comes to front web development front end. But from back end, we use Python, we use Django, we use Flask. And then, of course, the 2 main databases that we deal with is SQL Server and Postgres are the main ones. But nevertheless, that worked out for the best, man, because who knows, if I would have got that job, probably would have never started my own business, which now is doing well, and I'm able to give other people jobs, and now, and so on. So it worked out for the best. Can't complain about that. But nevertheless, what I was trying to say is that they use Python. When I applied for the job, I applied because they create all these APIs, whether again for Facebook, for Twitter, for data, Amazon, web services, for but the list goes on and on. They have a bunch, like tons of different connectors that they have to kind of automate certain tasks. Um, and that's what they were needed, right? At the time, it was all about Python. They needed a Python developer to help build all the APIs. And of course, that's what I do today. I build a lot of APIs as well from scratch. Or I utilize APIs that already exist today to kind of do some data integration. But I work for myself. That's a big difference, and and so on. But again, it worked out for the best. The point I was trying to make though is that Python is used in these areas as well. I haven't even seen Python used for mobile development. Kivy is the name of the framework to do Python mobile development. Now, what I would say though is I dabbled into that a little bit. I wouldn't recommend it for anything production. If you want to play around with it, that's fine. But if you want to try to build something from a production standpoint, I don't recommend it, man. One of the issues that I had, it was for certain things it works well. For other things, it was a little laggy. And I will tell you right now, from a mobile app development standpoint, so here's the thing. Now it could be right. I'm not gonna say that it's not, but it could be because Python, again, the truth is Python is not going to be as fast as C++, as Java, C Sharp, some of these other languages. It's not, man. At the end of the day, Python is slower than the language. Now, the reason for me why I keep using Python, have not stopped using Python, is for real world projects overall. Like let me put it this way. When you're working on projects, let's say you're trying to build this some kind of SaaS platform. All right, let's put it that way. You're trying to build a SaaS platform. Who knows that your platform gonna even sell? Like who knows, right? The way you're gonna make money is subscription based. Let's say you're gonna charge $9.99 per subscription. So everybody has to pay a monthly fee of $9.99 subscription fee, and that's how you plan to make money. When you launch, there's a good chance that hey, let's say you get 10 subscriptions the first month, and let's say you start growing. By the end of the year, you got 500 subscriptions. Okay, that's awesome, right? You got something, right? 500 times whatever I mentioned, right? $10 bucks a month. That's real money. Like that's good. That's how you grow. That's more in my mind. That's more realistic. That will probably happen. What happens though? People, I don't know. People think that hey, I'm gonna build the next Salesforce, the next TikTok, the next Instagram, whatever. Right? You pick whatever the hell you want to pick. They're gonna pick the next big platform that's gonna have millions and millions of requests per minute. So what they do is they're like, hey, I'm gonna pick a language that can handle those requests. I'm gonna try to optimize everything as much as possible. The problem is, though, the way I look at it from a business standpoint as well is like, use a language of your choice that you feel comfortable with. Doesn't matter whatever language it is. It could be Ruby, JavaScript, it could be Python. It doesn't matter, PHP. Pick a language that you feel comfortable with, so you could do rapid development on. Forget the whole optimization right now. Like, try to build it by all means, at least from a clean code standpoint. Now, I think that should be, you should always put that effort to do that. But from a trying to optimize it to a point where, hey, I want to be able to handle million plus requests per second. There's no need for that, man. Because at the end of the day, you want to build something quick, release it quick, and Python is good at that. Python is very good as when it comes to developing quick and releasing things quick. That's where Python excels at compared to some other languages. So, and then on top of that, test the market, see how it does, right? And if it does good, let's say a year from now, you have 500,000 subscribers at $10 each. Okay, and now you're seeing traffic of 1,000,000 a minute or so, or a few million requests per minute, whatever that entails. But if you have 500,000 subscribers by then charging $10, a month, dude, that's $5 million a month that you're bringing in. You know what that means? By then, you should be able to have a team of many other developers of different ideas. And then if Python is a bottleneck in your process, most likely what's going to be a bottleneck first is going to be the database side. That's where you need to have that optimized if you start to grow first, database. But nevertheless, let's say Python happens to be the bottleneck at that point. you know what? You're making, X amount, million, 5 million of a month, anyways. So if you're making that much a month, you would have a team. You could have a project of, hey, because of our growth, which is a good thing. Now we need to build something, migrate this project over to this other language. Maybe you switch to like Golang, for example, or Rust. I don't know, right? I mean, those are the more modern languages, but whatever language you feel more that you feel that could scale going forward, because now you know that, hey, we are growing, we have the users, we're bringing in lots of money per month. You could afford to now start a project to cover that. That's the way I see it. Instead of trying to spend all that effort up front, which may take even more months to build out your project and roll it out, how about just building something now that works, roll it out, get people feedback, tweak it, and then if it grows to that level, you deal with that issue later. You don't deal with it now. I mean, that's my opinion, anyways. That's the way I see it. Man, this tequila's very good, guys. So whatever you want to hear, man, feel more. I'm more than happy to hear any questions that you may have related to either Python, related. Maybe you have questions about myself, about my business. Like, hey, how do I get started? How do I start a business? How do I get clients? Whatever it is, man, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. Um, again, the reason why I'm doing this real late, and I don't know if it's actually gonna work out the way I plan to. But the reason why I did it so late was I do have a lot of followers. Like a good, like half of my followers are from India, and the other half are from the U.S. And I know I want to show some love to my followers in India that are probably, it's already daytime. It is Saturday on their time, so I don't who knows that they're doing actually even on YouTube right now. But nevertheless, hopefully if they are, they'll jump on and they'll kind of watch me stream. If not, that's fine. No complaints. So what else do I want to talk to y'all about? So I have some plans for 2021. So some of my plans for this year is I've been doing pretty good with my business. This is year number 4. It's about going to be my 4th year in September. So a few months away, and it'll be my 4th year. Everything has been good, man. I'm very thankful that my business has been growing every year. Everything has been very well. Allow me to hire people, have a small team. Very thankful for that. One of the things that we're building, we're gonna roll out. Hopefully, we could roll out beta version this month. That's the plan, anyways. If not this month, it'll be March. So we're releasing a platform called Go Share It. So those of you who do not know, my company is called Go App It. Like Go has Go, and then App It, APP app, and then of course it. So the reason why I came up with that name is kind of the whole like, hey, you have an idea, go app it, and that's kind of where we come in. We could help you out with your idea to kind of build that app that you have. One of the apps that we're gonna build internally is gonna be our own SaaS platform. It's gonna be called Go Share It. Again, Go, then Share It, and it's gonna be a platform to be able to share files, whether it be video, audio, pictures, documents, doesn't matter, but to be able to share files. And the purpose, the structure, the way we're gonna have it is gonna be you could share these files with other people, but they don't need to have an account, right? So a good example would be like with Dropbox. If you have a Dropbox account, you could share a file, but you have two options. You either share it internally or you share it on public, which means anybody who comes across that link could technically download that file. Well, there may be some cases where you want to share let's say some documents, let's say with a client, but you don't want to make those files public. So what we're building is a way to be able to, again, upload your file to your account, and then you can share it with your customers or your whoever you're working with, right? Or whoever, you can share with whoever. And then when you share it, you have the option to share it public, which literally means you give them a link. Anybody with that link could have access to it. The other two options is password protection or passcode protection. So either way, whichever one you do, our system will create a password, and it will be a random password that will probably be like 20, 30 characters long to make it, difficult for anybody to try to guess. Or it will generate a passcode, and right now it would be a 6-digit passcode that would generate, and then when you email it to the client, they will get a separate email with the passcode or the password, or they will get a text or something like that. And so that's kind of what we're working on. So like that, they don't need to have an account. All they need to do is receive the email from you. They go click on the link and either download it, or if it's password protected or passcode protected, type in that value, whatever that value is, or copy and paste that value if they get it via email, and then they could have access to that documents or those documents, for example. And then of course it's going to be time sensitive, and by that I mean you're going to have different tiers that you could the file is available for an hour, which means if you share a document with a client, they have an hour to download it before it disappears. That's number one. The other option is you have 1 day, and then the third option will be you have 7 days, and that's probably going to be our free tier for people that want to use it for free. And then there will be a limit on how many files you could kind of share at a given time. Then there'll be a paid version. The paid version would be you could extend the time frame to be beyond 7 days. It could be a month, 3 months, 6 months. Haven't determined yet the duration, like the limit on it, on how long. Like what we're not trying to do is we're not trying to be another Dropbox. A Dropbox is a storage system that you can store your files, but it also gives you capabilities to share your file with other Dropbox accounts. And I get that. That's not what we're trying to be. We're trying to be more kind of like a Snapchat for files, where you can share a document, but you're able to limit that document access as well. Like, hey, this is only going to be accessible for, let's say, an hour. So you have an hour to go access it, and after that, if you don't get it, it's gone. We may add some other features, like maybe you want to share something for 10 minutes. I don't see a true need for that right now, but let's just say there's something that's very time sensitive and you want the end user, like, hey, you got to read it now. If you don't read it, you're screwed, kind of deal, right? I don't know what that would be, of course, but let's just say if there is something like that, we may add something like that. But the idea here is like, hey, you want to send them a file. What happens a lot of the time, people like, hey, I got a file I want to share with you, so they email on the file. So now if you ever want to, so you get your file from email, and you got to save it somewhere and so on. That's the way it normally works today, right? If you want to share files with someone, and that happens often, to be honest with you. That happens probably more than what people think. People are saying, hey, I have a file for you, so you just send them an email attachment of the file, and then they download it that way. We're trying to eliminate all of that, where they get an email notice, but there's still another layer of protection of either password, you gotta enter your password, passcode, and so on. Just kind of trying to make it more secure for the people that want to add that level. So that's kind of in the works. That's part of the plan for 2022. So I'll keep y'all updated on how that works. But I would like to hear back from y'all, man. Like, let me know anything. What you have any questions? Again, this is Drinking with Lou. I'm drinking some tequila, and it's actually pretty good, man. I like it. So I'm all ears. More than welcome to hear any tech questions, business questions, again, because I do have my own business, so I'm more than happy to answer anything that I could share with y'all. So keep in mind, whatever I'm sharing with y'all, I'm sharing what I went through, not what I read or what I think is right. I'm sharing my own experience with you. Not everybody would agree with what I say. I may say certain things that somebody else may say, like, no, you shouldn't do it that way. That's the wrong way. That's fine. I'm just sharing with y'all my experience on what I have done, what I have learned. And hopefully it helps some of y'all, man, at the end of the day. That's what I hope for, anyways. So let me know, man, if y'all have any questions, y'all want to do anything. I'm more than happy if you have any code that you want me to review. I'm more than happy to take a look at it, man. You can email me if you want at I believe it's contact at iamblue.net. You can email me there. Um, and we'll take a look at whatever code you have. Those of y'all who use Python, how many of y'all use Python because it's easy to program in compared to, like, I'm just kind of curious, like, do you use Python because, hey, it's easier than maybe some other languages, and it's easy to get started, easy to build stuff to get going, um, or did you come across Python because, hey, that just happened to be the language, right? You just happen to pick a language, happen to be Python, and that's what you know. Here's the thing: when I first started learning to program, which was some years back, I took this course. And that course, it was more so focused on fundamentals of programming language, right? It had nothing to do with Python. It was focused on fundamentals of the programming. It just happened to be they were using Python as a programming language. Now, because of that, that kind of, I got stuck on. I mean, I just kind of like, hey, well, I'm learning this language anyways. Let me just stick with it. This is before the whole everybody, Python was hot the way it is now. Before data science was all about Python is the language to use. Because back then when I first got started, the language to use for statistics was not Python, it was R. That's what I see everywhere. R, 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 right? You can use R Studios, which is like your IDE for R and things of that nature. I even use R a few times on, before I learned Python, just kind of do some statistics stuff. So R was the language to use. And then of course Python came, and then Python had. Well, when I say Python came, Python been around for a while, but it came in my life. Then I started being more familiar with Python. Started being more familiar with some of the languages, some of the packages that they have, and I ended up realizing, dude, Python does everything that R does. For number one. Number two, it actually does it faster than R, man. I saw some benchmarks where they compare R and Python together. And Python, in some cases, was like 3-4 times faster than R. So in my mind, I was like, dude, why the hell is anybody using R? Like, use Python. Because at least with Python, if you learn the language, you can use it for data, your data science. But if you ever decide to, I want to build a web app, you could use Python to do that. I want to build an API. You could use Python for that, right? It's used for so many things, which is why I enjoy it. So for me, it worked out fine. I didn't pick Python as a language for me to learn when I first started to learn programming. Only reason why I stuck with Python because the program that I was taking, like fundamental programming program, used Python. And because I used Python, I continued to use it afterwards. And eventually I just got better and better and better throughout the years and started learning different frameworks and different packages. And the list goes on and on. And so, I mean, that was the main reason, right? So, hopefully y'all doing good, man. I really hope that y'all doing good on this. It's not Friday night no more. It's actually Saturday morning. It's 1:33 a.m. my time Saturday. So because it's the weekend, that's why I'm having a drink again. Drink with Lou. Having some tequila. I am actually interested. Do y'all drink when y'all program? And if you do drink with your program, do you feel like your coding goes downhill, or you're just like in the zone when you do that? Just curious. I feel like when I drink some, honestly, man, I'm just like, dude, I just focus. It's not an issue for me. I feel like I get enough. I get the same amount of done when I'm not drinking. It's the same thing. Um, but I do feel if I happen to have just a little bit too much, I'm not talking about drunk or nothing, but just I drink a little bit more than what I should. That's where I'm kind of like, yeah, my coding kind of starts to go downhill a little bit. So I try not to code as much because the last thing I want to do is start having all these bugs in my program because of I was decided to drink a little and code at the same time. So I need to show you my setup, man. I got a new setup. So right now I'm streaming from my Windows PC. I actually got so my Windows PC that I have here that I'm using right now to stream. I use it for that. I use it for gaming and streaming and a few other things. I just got a new GPU, a 6900 XT from AMD. Dude, it is awesome. I'm playing Halo right now. Dude, I'm getting like 144, 150 hertz frame. What the hell am I talking about? 144 to 150 frames per second, which is perfect because the monitor that I have is a 144 hertz monitor. So that's like, perfect pair, right? Before, the GPU that I had before was the 5700 XT. And dude, I was getting in Halo, I was getting like 55, 60 frames per second. I'm getting double right now, dude. Double. Like it's awesome. But I do have another PC over here on the side. You can't see it, so I'll make a video one day. So that's actually my workstation. This is where I have 4 monitors at the desktop, which runs Linux. So I'm running Pop OS. And on my that machine, I do have VM. I have a Windows VM running as well. There's a few apps that I need that can only be ran on Windows. One of them happens to be Power BI Desktop. The other one that I use every once in a while is SQL Server Management Studio. So mainly because of those 2 programs, and also every once in a while, very slim, I use Excel. Now, Linux has their own version of Excel. The thing about it, though, it doesn't have some of these other features like Power BI, Power Query, things of that nature. And sometimes there's some files that a client may share with me, and they're using those in their Excel file. So because of that, I need to open it up in Excel to make sure that I can see everything as well. But nevertheless, I have a Linux machine. I'll do a video one of these days, kind of showing my setup. So Windows right here in front of me. I have again, pretty good GPU, 6900 XT. Right now my CPU is a 3700X AMD. So eventually, I probably will end up upgrading that probably the next couple of months to 5900X AMD. But nevertheless, for right now, that's what I'm rocking. 32 gigs of RAM. I have my Canon camera here in front of me, and then of course I have 3 monitors up here on top, one at the bottom, and then one over here on the side. Over here on the side, I have my workstation. That's where I used for work. I do have a camera, Logitech, what is it, C922 HD camera. I Again, it's not a Canon camera like over here, but nevertheless good enough when I'm just talking to clients and we're kind of video conferencing. Have four monitors. One of them happens to be an ultra wide. The other three are 27-inch monitors, and one of them happens to be a 144 hertz monitor. What do I have? I have an Intel. I don't have an AMD on that machine. I'm rocking an Intel 11th gen i7. So it's a 11 700K CPU, 64 gigs of RAM. The reason why I put 64 gigs of RAM on that machine is because I knew I was going to run a VM, a Windows VM. And then, of course, other apps that I'm using throughout the day and things of that nature. Right, I think typically, to be honest with you, when I'm working, I'm using around 28 to 32 gigs of RAM. That's how much RAM I'm using. So I'm about halfway point. So if I would have had 32 gigs of RAM, there'll be some times where I'm like maxing it out to the max. So 64 gigs, I think works out fine. I really haven't got to the point where I'm past the 32 or 34 gig mark. But if I get to that point, I have more than enough. So it's fine. What else do I have? I do have a GPU, a AMD GPU. I have a 5700 XT, which is fine because I'm not really doing nothing special over there. Like, I'm not gaming over there. I'm not doing video editing over there. So if anything, that GPU is probably overkill for that setup. But it's fine. It was a spare GPU that I had. I got a few GPUs. Dude, I have like 3 GPUs right now. I have a 6900 XT, a 5700 XT on that machine. Then I have another one in a box because I had it over here, a 5900 XT overclock GPU. That's what I took out of here, and right now it's just kind of free. I'm probably gonna put it on another machine. So one of the things that I probably end up doing is whenever I do Twitch streaming, again I'm game streaming. I notice it's sometimes like a little lag here and there. And I think it's because I've got my GPU here. I have it on full settings. I mean, I'm like to the max. So it's using a lot of resources just to game. Then on top of that, it needs to use some more resources to be able to stream. So, I mean, because of that, it's using some, my GPU is maxed out and my CPU is pretty high as well. So, what I may end up doing is have one PC to game and have another PC to do streaming. So, I'm still thinking about that. I think my GPU should be able to handle both. I really believe that. I think what I need to do though is upgrade my CPU. I think if I upgrade my CPU, I should be fine, but we'll see. But I'll do a video one of these days, kind of showing my setup, my Linux setup, my Windows setup, and of course, when I travel, I have a MacBook Pro. I'm gonna end up eventually replacing that because right now I love my Linux setup that I have. I am gonna end up whenever I get to the point. I'm not gonna do it now because I don't want to just spend money just to spend money either. But once I get to the point when I'm ready to upgrade my laptop or my MacBook Pro, put it that way. So I have a 2018 MacBook Pro. We're 2022, so I believe the 2018 model came out in March or May, around that time frame. So we're almost 4 years that it's been out. It's still good though. I mean, it still works fine. It does what it's supposed to do, and all of that's fine. So I'm not going to upgrade it anytime soon. But let's say if I decide to upgrade it another year or two from now, I'm actually going to switch and I'm going to get Linux. Because right now I have this setup over here. This setup, I could do whatever I want to do. I have Windows running the VM. And then of course I have all my running my normal application on Linux because they all run on Linux fine, no issues. And so what I'm probably going to end up doing, I'm going to end up, when I do decide to get another, when I decide to get a laptop, and I'm going to kind of decommission my MacBook Pro. I'm not doing it because I dislike MacBook Pro. I think it works fine. My issue with Mac, and this is why I'm not gonna buy another Mac. I actually like the OS a lot. I mean, when I say a lot, I really, really like the OS because there's I'm coming from a Windows, somebody who's been using Windows. There's a lot of applications that are using Windows that actually work on Mac that do not work on Linux. A good example would be Microsoft Outlook. So in order to get that to run on Linux, your options are you gotta log in to the web browser and view your mail that way, which is an option. That's fine. The other option is you gotta have a VM, which I do have a VM, a Windows VM, and on that Windows VM, you could have Outlook installed, and then you could view your emails. That's an option too, but I don't like those options, man. And that's where I think Mac does come in and shine, where Microsoft Office made a version for Mac, and I actually think that version is better than what's on Windows, man. It's actually very sweet, man. It's slick. I like it a lot. Excel's on Mac as well too. Like all these other Word documents and stuff like that. It's on Mac. You can install it on Mac, and I like that. Um, Now there's no Power BI on Mac, Power BI desktop. So because even my Mac that I have now, I had a VM as well because I had to run Windows. And the two apps that I ran on Windows was SQL Server Management Studio and Power BI Desktop. Those were the two that I ran on my VM on my Mac. But everything else, dude, I was able to install. Now with Linux, I'm able to install almost everything, but there's a few things that I can't install. Like one of them being the Microsoft Outlook and Excel. Now there is like another version of Excel, or it's not Excel. It's what is it called, like Libre or something like that, which is an Excel. They make like an Excel, type desktop app. And that actually works fine. I use that right now, and I'm able to use it, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Um, but it's not Excel either. Excel has all these other features that are not included in that, right? So again, kind of going back, I do like Mac, man. My biggest issue with Mac, this is my biggest issue with Mac. You cannot upgrade, man. So if I were to like put it this way, I actually built a desktop, a Linux desktop, 64 gigs of RAM, C16 of my RAM. I have an 11th gen i700K Intel processor. I have a 5700 XT GPU. I have what is my Asus Prime motherboard, a lot of VRMs. I have 1,000 watt platinum power supply. What do I have here? I think I have one terabyte M.2 storage. I also have an AIO, an Arctic, 240 AIO. What else? I'm trying to think what else do I may have here. So all of that, for example, what I just described right now, it's a pretty powerful machine. If I were to get an equivalent version of that of a MacBook, not a MacBook desktop, right? Let's say, because I'm talking about desktop now, so it would have to be a MacBook Pro. Well, what the hell is their desktop called? Their is it just called MacBook? I should know this. I don't know why the hell I don't know this, but their desktops. I'm trying to think. Do they where they go Mac Pro? That's what it's called, Mac Pro. So if I were to get an equivalent version of what I have on a Mac Pro, um, and I'm trying to see what the specs are. Just let me show my screen real quick. There it goes. So let's take a look at it. I'm just kind of curious. If I want to get something similar to what I just got, So mine is this 8 core 16 thread. That's pretty much what I have. Let's see if I could build something, do a quick build. I'm just curious. Let's configure this guy. There it goes, 8 core Intel Xeon. So I don't have a Xeon on mine. What I have, Xeon are more expensive. I have a i7 11th gen. So Xeons are more pricey. I get that. I have 64 gigs. They don't even have 64 gigs. I could go up more than 64 gigs, but that's not what I have. They only have 32 gigs that I could pay. Let's do 48 for now. That's the closest I could think of. Oh, what else? So the GPU, the 5800, 5080X. There it goes, 5700X. Is that the closest? No, that's 16 gig. That's not it. I'm trying to think what's equivalent to what I have. Storage, I have 1 TB. Whatever. So what I have is probably going to be close to this. No, that's not what I have. Oh, that is what I have. I have a 5700 XT. One storage. I'm just curious what they have the price at. 6800. That's the damn price. So for 48 gigs of RAM, a 8 core Xeon processor, which boosts up to 4 gigs. Now, what I have is a 11th gen 11700 K processor. I believe it's like 4.8 gigahertz around there. Boost up to 4.8. It's 8 core 16 thread. I have 1 TB of storage in there. I have a 5700 XT GPU, 8 gigs of GDDR RAM. I guess those are probably all the specs we could deal with for now. But either way, the price is $68.99. I can tell you right now, I did not pay nowhere close to that, dude. My case was about $120. Motherboard was let's do the math real quick, dude. I just want to do the math. So my case was like 129. My motherboard, I believe, was like 279. All right. My CPU was a little bit more on the. I think it was like 359 for my CPU. My RAM, I got 64 gigs. I believe I paid about like 120 for 32 gigs. I got 2 of that. So it was like a good, let's say 275 for my RAM. So I have CPU, RAM, motherboard, and a case. That's $1,000 right there. Now my GPU, I actually got it from an older build. When I bought it, way back when GPUs were not that expensive, I believe I paid $350 for that GPU back then. Okay, so I have $350. I have a Arctic 240 AIO. I don't recall, to be honest with you. I want to say it was probably like no more than $99 for that. So I'm looking at $14.91. Linux is free, the operating system. So I did not have to pay for that. Oh yeah, power supply. So the power supply, I actually got a good one, a platinum 1,000 watt power supply. How much was that? Um, I think I paid like it was like 179, I believe. What else did I do? Oh yeah, my 1 terabyte M.2. I believe that was like one. I'm gonna just say 179. Maybe I'm probably more like 229 to be honest with you, like 229. What else do I have? Dude, that's it, man. So when you look at my overall cost for my machine, I paid under. I feel like it should be more. I did so I actually bought other stuff. I bought a mic. Um, I have a blue mic, a Logitech web camera, and of course 4 monitors. If I include that, that's a lot more pricey. Now the reason why I'm not going to include that because I don't think this includes a monitor or nothing else either, right? Just literally the hardware. Now I would say the comparison it's kind of hard to compare it exact because they do have a Xeon. Now I have more RAM than that, but I just picked that for now. Um, they have a Xeon processor. Xeons are more expensive. Um, I don't have one now. It's the same amount of cores, the same amount of threads, and mine has a higher turbo boost. But nevertheless, it's a little bit more pricey because of that. But I'm trying to just compare it. Trying to compare best if I can. Just looking at the price of what I spent on mine, 18.99, not counting keyboard, monitor, none of that. Right, just literally the PC, 18.99 for my Linux machine. A MacBook without same thing without anything else. I think what they are included though is a mouse, I believe. Right there you go, a Magic Mouse, but that's comes for free. But nevertheless, dude, there's 68.99. That's a big difference, dude. That's one of the reasons why what I rather build my own because I actually enjoy. I've been getting more into hardware, and I enjoy building and doing that kind of stuff. And look at the price, dude. The price. And my machine will run so smooth, dude. I don't have no issues. Um, Again, 11th gen i7, 11700K, awesome. 64 gigs of RAM, C16. I believe it's 32 megahertz, 3200 megahertz, 1 terabyte of storage, M.2. A cord. Then on top of that, I have a 5900 XT, and I have it connected to 4 monitors, which with an AIO, which is actually overkill because I don't think I need an AIO for it. But either way, it's fine. Then 1,000 watt power supply platinum on that machine. So big price difference, dude. Big price difference. Um, and for that reason is why I'm gonna stick to my Linux machine going forward. So when I decide, whenever I travel, I would take my either MacBook Pro, but whenever I decide to get a new piece of equipment, it's gonna be what I'm gonna end up doing is it's called Framework Laptops. This is what I'm planning to buy next time I buy another piece of equipment. I think is awesome because you could repair everything yourself, you could upgrade everything yourself, which is I think is very key. Which is why I'm not a fan of Macs because you can't do that with a Mac, man. At least not right now. Anyways, there's some issues with that. Hey, how come it's not showing? There it goes. There's my screen. Um, but what I like about it too is everything it's like very modular. I'm trying to find a piece of a picture. See if it shows it. Maybe not. Damn, it doesn't show it, which is kind of odd. I've seen pictures from it before, but what I like about it is Let's see. It kind of has the MacBook Pro look to it when you think about it, right? It kind of does. And even the keyboard, this is like the old MacBook keyboard, which is the one that everybody liked. I don't know why they, the 2018 version sucks. That's the version that I have, and I don't like it. But see these modulars, this is all stuff you could change. There you go. Like you could decide what it is, what kind of outputs you want. You want HDMI, you want display port, you want USB C, USB A. Dude, it's really up to you, man, which is awesome. And this is what I'm next time I do buy another piece of equipment, it's what I'm gonna buy. And when you look at the price for this, good example would be this guy, right? This is a nice medium i7 11th, 11th gen, 16 gigs of RAM, half a terabyte of storage. Not bad. Looked at $1,400, dude. Way cheaper than Mac. Even you get this high end version, 32 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte. You're not gonna pay $2,000 for MacBook Pro. Like these specs are way more than a MacBook Pro, and honestly, or let's say even you get something comparable to this in a MacBook Pro, it's gonna cost like $3,500, dude. It's $2,000. Way again, big difference. And I could repair it. I could upgrade it. I could repair it in the future, man, which makes it so much better. So, all right, guys. So it's already 2 a.m. my time, and I'm gonna call it a night, man. So again, give me a follow, give me a like if you can, and I'll probably be on tomorrow again live and be more than happy, man. You have any